Welcome back, everyone. Today, we've got a truly fascinating explainer lined up for you. We're going to be doing a clinical breakdown of a highly chaotic financial and, frankly, romantic partnership. We're looking at the case of Chelsea, who's 20, and Mike, who's 23. Now, on the surface, this might just look like a standard story about a young couple trying to build a life together. But underneath, oh man, it is a complete labyrinth of hidden debts, parental bailouts, and just staggering trust issues. I want to emphasize right out of the gate that this isn't just some math problem we're looking at today. It is a profound behavioral disaster that's completely derailing their future. Okay, let's dive into this.
Just let that sink in for a second. You're watching all the security cameras constantly at his job, making sure he's not talking to anyone. I mean, wow. This isn't a line from some psychological thriller. It's a direct quote outlining the literal, daily reality of this relationship. And not only is she watching his workplace cameras, but she's also tracking his every single move on Life 360. Just think about how utterly exhausting that level of constant surveillance and paranoia has to be. Before you can even attempt to sit down and tackle a household budget or figure out how to pay off debt together, you are completely drained by the sheer mental load of policing another human being.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to untangle this step by step. 1. The marriage ultimatum. 2. A foundation of distrust. 3. The debt disaster. 4. The daddy bailout. 5. The ultimate exposure. And finally, 6. The final verdict.
Starting off with Section 1, the marriage ultimatum, pushing for a ring.
Let's start with the catalyst that's kind of forcing all of these issues right up to the surface. You've got 20-year-old Chelsea and 23-year-old Mike. They've been together for 3 years, but their goals, they are completely fundamentally disconnected. And this brilliantly illustrates the core conflict. Look at Chelsea's stance. She's driven by this severe anxiety about abandonment. She essentially views a marriage certificate as a literal lock on the relationship, a guarantee that he won't leave. Because of this, she's actually issued a hard ultimatum. If she doesn't get a ring within a year, she is walking away, period. On the flip side, Mike is terrified. He absolutely refuses to propose because he knows their finances are an absolute disaster. But more importantly, he's deeply afraid that the moment they say "I do," Chelsea is going to immediately demand a baby. And a baby comes with thousands of dollars of medical bills, diapers, lost income, things they absolutely, literally cannot afford right now.
That brings us to Section 2, a foundation of distrust, security cameras and secrets.
So, we have to ask, why is Chelsea so incredibly anxious about Mike leaving? Well, let's look at the behavioral rot beneath the surface here. The irony is honestly pretty thick. Chelsea's intense paranoia actually stems from the fact that she cheated on her ex-boyfriend to be with Mike. So now she projects that exact same behavior right back onto him. If Mike doesn't answer his phone, even if he's literally just going out to play basketball with his friends, her response is to lock a 23-year-old man out of the house for the night. As a punishment. It's a wildly toxic dynamic that basically guarantees they're never going to be able to sit down and calmly review a bank statement together. You simply cannot achieve financial unity in a surveillance state. It doesn't work.
Which leads us to a critical question for you to consider as we start digging into their actual numbers. What actually happens when complete financial avoidance meets severe relationship anxiety? Well, the answer is that financial avoidance acts as a giant shield for bad behavior. The objective data gets buried. Chelsea flat out refuses to look at the math, and Mike, he uses her avoidance as the absolute perfect excuse to hide a terrifying financial reality.
Moving to Section 3, the debt disaster, Mike's mountain of borrowed money.
Because Chelsea completely shuts down whenever the topic of money is even brought up, Mike has been quietly sinking into a catastrophic debt disaster, completely unsupervised. Just take a look at this number for a second. $8,448.71. And here's the kicker. This isn't his total debt. No way. This is just the balance on a single Affirm account. Mike has been completely falling for that buy now, pay later trap, aggressively financing thousands of dollars worth of Milwaukee tools from Home Depot. And you rationalize this, right? He convinces himself that these tools are assets that hold their value. But let's be real. They're depreciating consumer goods purchased entirely with high-interest consumer debt, and the interest is literally eating him alive.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is the sheer toxicity of the debt he's carrying. Beyond that Affirm tool debt, he actually took out a personal consolidation loan of over $7,600. The interest rate on that loan, a staggering 28.39%. I want to be super clear about what that actually means in the real world.
At 28% interest, your standard minimum payments are practically going entirely to interest. He's making these payments every single month, but the principal barely moves. It keeps him trapped in this perpetual cycle of poverty. And to top it all off, he's got roughly $1,600 sitting in active collections, which is completely ruining his credit profile, all while his partner refuses to even look at the math.
Which brings us to Section 4, the daddy bailout, Chelsea's financial insulation. So you might be wondering, how on earth is Chelsea able to just ignore this looming bankruptcy? Well, it's because she is wrapped in a thick, cozy layer of financial insulation provided entirely by her parents. The disparity in this relationship is wild. While Mike is over here drowning in 28% interest rates and dodging collection calls, Chelsea lives in a home that her father bought for her through an LLC. When she overdrafts her checking account by $55 on random spending, she literally just calls her dad, and he instantly transfers her $100 to cover it. This is the classic psychology of enablement. By instantly bailing her out, her dad is robbing her of the opportunity to actually feel the pain of a bad financial decision. It keeps her in this permanent state of financial childhood, where she faces zero consequences. And trust me, that breeds massive, massive resentment from Mike. And when Mike tries to bring up the crushing weight of his debt, this is Chelsea's actual response. "I don't understand when he talks about them. Gives me a headache. Gives me anxiety." We really have to dig into the psychology here, because claiming it gives me a headache or it makes my stomach hurt is a textbook avoidance tactic. It conveniently shifts the burden entirely back onto Mike. She actively weaponizes her discomfort so that she avoids taking any accountability at all, effectively forcing Mike to be the bad guy if he persists in trying to fix their lives. On to Section 5, the ultimate exposure, betrayal in the bank statements. Here's the thing. Hiding things in a relationship always leaves a paper trail. Always. When you finally force a couple to put all their bank statements and credit card bills on the table, it doesn't just expose bad math. It exposes massive behavioral breaches. The hypocrisy here is just astounding. Remember, while Chelsea is literally monitoring Mike's workplace security cameras, Mike is using his debit card to secretly bypass her explicit, non-negotiable boundaries. Buried right there in his bank statements were recurring charges for OnlyFans and other adult content, something Chelsea had explicitly forbidden due to a past addiction. Listen, a bank statement is the ultimate lie detector. People can say whatever they want, but their spending history reveals their true priorities and their hidden secrets. And the financial leakage doesn't stop there. $12,000. That is how much they managed to blow through in a single month of spending. Keep in mind, they have a combined monthly income of only about $6,450. We are talking about pure BS spending here. Eating out multiple times a day, endless fast food runs, grabbing taquitos at the gas station, just a constant stream of convenience purchases that absolutely destroy a budget. They even funded a chaotic $2,000 four-day road trip to Austin, Texas, purely on high-interest debt. It is completely insane to take a vacation on a credit card when you already have accounts sitting in active collections. And finally, Section 6, the final verdict, scoring the disaster. So the crucial point is this. We have a young couple drowning in high-interest debt, heavily subsidized by a parent, spending double their income, and fundamentally betraying each other's trust on a daily basis. If they are going to survive as a couple, they must implement these 4 survival steps immediately. 1. Mandatory couples therapy. Real financial transparency is literally impossible until the paranoia and the camera watching stops. 2. Full financial transparency. No more hiding behind headaches. 3. Mike needs to physically cut up the credit cards today and switch to a strict debit-only lifestyle to stop the bleeding. And 4. Chelsea must be cut off by her parents to force her to finally live in the real world. Because right now, their final hammer financial score is a 0. Out of a possible 10, they score a flat 0. And I want to explain exactly what a 0 means. It means they are one minor emergency, like a blown car transmission, or a single unexpected medical bill, away from total financial collapse. There is absolutely no emergency fund, there is no safety net other than calling dad, and there is 0 teamwork. You simply cannot build a future on a foundation of 0. I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up. When trust is entirely bankrupt, can a financial plan ever save the relationship? A budget can fix a math problem, for sure, but it absolutely cannot fix a broken partnership. You simply cannot out-earn toxic behavior. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer today. I highly encourage you to reflect on the bedrock of your own financial partnerships. At the end of the day, communication and trust are the ultimate currencies. Stay curious, stay focused, and I'll catch you in the next one.